Alright, today we are going to touch upon how to sketch quadratic curve in the factorized form. So, provide me with the answers. What is the x-intercept for the part A? Okay, say it out so that you enter into your memory. You just look at this and then just tell me, without referring to your worksheet, can you remember what was the turning point? Okay, so the x-intercept will be 1, 0, and 3, 0. Okay, what is the next one? 1, 0, 3, 0. So now there's a difference between the x-intercept and the x value of the intercept. So since I want the x-intercept, I'll write down the whole coordinates. Okay, the next one. It will still be 1, 0, 3, 0. The next one. Negative 1, 0, 3, 0. This one should be quite obvious. 7, 0, 9, 0. And this 7, 0, 9, 0. And the last one. Negative 3, 0 and 3, 0. Okay, now for the turning points, I will write down whether it's a maximum or minimum. So the first one, I will write it as a minimum point first. And what is the turning point? The turning point was 2, negative 2, and the line of symmetry is x. No. X equal 2, not 2, x equal 2. It is the equation of the line of symmetry. They will always write down the word, the equation of the, so you remember equation has an equal sign. So it must be something equal to, x equal 2. Now, for the next turning point, is it a minimum or maximum? Okay, so because why is it a maximum? Do you all know? Yes, we have a negative what? Negative x squared. It's actually because of the negative x squared. Okay, we will take a look at this in a moment again. So what is the maximum point? It will be 2, what was the y coordinate? 2, 2. Okay. Now, for this one, is it a maximum or minimum? This is the last time I'm asking you. Is it a maximum or minimum? Remember what I said? Why is it a maximum or minimum? Why? Because of the positive or negative x squared. So is it maximum or minimum? Yeah, it's maximum. Don't be tricked by the first number here. You have to look at the x squared term. The x squared term after expanding will be negative 2x squared. So it is a maximum. Alright? And the turning point will be 2, is it 2? Okay. Right. Then the next one will be minimum now, and the turning point has changed. What is the turning point now? 1 and negative 12. Oh, okay, the number like now starting to change a bit. So, and I will have minimum again, and the turning point will be 8 and negative 4. The last two, maximum or minimum? Okay, maximum, and the turning point will be 8 and positive 4. Okay, and the last one will be maximum. Okay, why? The turning point is 0 and 9. Okay, now for those who are confused, let me try to recap a bit. When we have negative, example, when we have negative x squared, 1x squared, negative 2x squared, negative 3x squared, the shape will be a frowny face. And this point here must be a maximum because it's the highest point. If it's a positive x squared, positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, even decimal is fine, you'll be happy, right? Positive. So it'll be a smiley face. And this is my minimum. Now for the line of symmetry, can we just very quickly list them out? X equals to 2. But this one very easy. X equals to x equals to 1, x equals to 8, x equals to 8, and x equals to 0. Okay, so the lesson for today is why are the turning points like this? How do we find the turning point? So we turn to this example here. After that, we are going to sketch. So look at this example. Do you all know what is the x-intercept? How do we find the x-intercept? How do we find it? What is the pattern between this and this? What is the pattern between this and these x values? What is the relationship between all these x values? Yeah, it's right in the middle. Okay, I will explain to you why it's in the middle in a very short while. So the x-intercepts, what are they? Look at this number. 2, 0, and -5, 0. So we learn one thing now. This is how we find the x-intercepts in the factorized form. We just take this. How do we get 2? Very simple. X minus 2 equals 0. Bring over x equals to 2. That will be your x-intercept. X plus 5 equals 0. Why equals 0? Because it cuts the x-axis. Okay? So we will let it be 0. I will show you in a short while. So x equals to -5. Now, when something cuts the x-axis, let's say this is an N shape, right? It cuts the x-axis. The equation of the x-axis is y equals to 0. So if I have this equals to 0, right? Because y equals to 0 on the x-axis, y is 0, right? It means that x minus 2 must be 0, or x plus 5 must be 0. Solving it, x will be 2, x will be -5. Now it's very, very complex if you start to think all the way from the beginning. So how we find out is very simple. You just put the 2 lor. I remember this is -2, right? My answer will be opposite +2. This is +5, right? I remember now as opposite, so it should be -5. You don't have to go all the way to the very, very beginning foundation again. Okay? So in mathematics, and once we understand the concept already, we try to memorize certain shortcut to get it done. So again, one more time. Looking at this now, what is the x-intercept? This is -2, right? So the x-intercept is +2, 0. And the x-intercept, the second one, this is +5, right? So we put opposite -5, 0. That's the first part of today's lesson. You have to remember. Second part is, how then do I find the turning points? What do you realize again between these two x value and the turning point x value? What's the relationship? This and this. Yes, it is always in the middle, right? How do we know what is the middle of 2 and -5? How do we know that? As A-Math student, you need to know this formula. So, because yes, correct, it's in the middle, I will take the first number plus the second number. And what do I do with these two numbers after adding up? I want to find the middle, so I divide by 2. And the answer is, okay, press your calculator, it will be -3/2 or -1.5. Can you find out the y value? If you know the x value now, are you able to find the y value? How do I find the y value? Sub the x value back into fx. So I know that this value is -3/2, right? I will sub in -3/2. Can you please help me to press? So I sub the x now as -3/2. I should be able to find my y value, which is my fx. 36.75. What is the fraction? 147 over 4. Okay, so since I ask you for the fraction because since I already written as a fraction, I must follow as a fraction 147 over 4. Before we sketch, let us recap again what is happening. From this factorized form, what is the first thing you need to find? The x-intercept. Are you able to do that now? From the factorized form, get the x-intercept. Are you able to do that? From the x-intercept, are you able to find the x turning point? Okay? Using the midpoint. So midpoint formula is given by this. I'm able to find the x turning point. After I find the x turning point, can I find the y turning point? By substituting the x turning point in, I will find the corresponding y turning point. So now we will sketch. We have the x-intercept, we have the turning point. We can sketch already. Any questions so far before I sketch? Wow, very good. Okay, so the question is, where is my y-intercept? Okay, there are two schools of thought. When it's in the factorized form, you don't have to find the y-intercept. You can still sketch. But for the sake of the lesson, I will still find the y-intercept. Because the question sometimes, exam question, they do ask you to find the y-intercept. So I continue. Okay, the first question is, why is the turning point the middle of these two values? Now, it's an N-shaped curve, right? There's something very special about quadratic curve. Where is it? Okay, there's something very special about quadratic curve. What is so special about quadratic curve? Quadratic curve, yes. Quadratic curves are symmetrical about where? The turning point. The quadratic curve is symmetrical about the turning point. So I can draw any line I like, any horizontal line I like, any horizontal line. What happens when I find the middle of this line? What will happen? I'm finding the line of symmetry, right? What happens if I find the middle of this line, of these 2 points? What happens if I find the middle of these 2 points? I will still get the x value for the line of symmetry. So that's why I find the middle. The concept you understand already, why I find the middle. Okay, now, for this extra part, I'm going to find the x-intercept turning point. I'm missing the y-intercept. Do you all remember how to find the y-intercept? Let x be 0. So it's very, very simple. When x is 0, fx is 3 bracket 0 minus 2, 0 plus 5. And the answer will be 5. Answer is 30, right? So I have a y-intercept 0, 30. This is the last thing I found. Okay, we are going to end the video soon. I'm going to sketch now. First, I will prove to you I can sketch using the turning point and the x-intercept. I don't need the y-intercept. I can sketch perfectly. Right? X-intercept, so 1, 2. I put in 2 here. So 1, 2. I use this finger space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5 is here. And I have a turning point. I will mark out the turning point. Negative 1.5 and 36.75. Can we draw a curve? Even though I never indicate the y-intercept, am I able to draw a curve? It will cut somewhere here, right? You cannot be cut here, So it cannot be cut here. It must be cut somewhere here, 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 right? So I can draw without the y-intercept. Is that clear? I can draw without the y-intercept. So I'm just going to try to draw. You see, I never cut the 2, right? So what do I do now? Very, very important question. I never cut the 2, right? What do I do now? Do I erase the red color line? What do I do? I erase the 2 and just shift it over. So if you have the y-intercept, we will just indicate down here this number. What is this number here? 30. And that's it. That's how we sketch with or without the y-intercept of a quadratic curve in factorized form. Okay. Thank you.